Twisted Metal 2 is still viewed by many as the best game in the Twisted Metal series. It introduced and fleshed out many of the iconic characters we have grown to love, but I'm here to give a Goblin's opinion on their top 3 characters for Twisted Metal 2. I would like to give an honorable mention to Hammerhead in Twisted Metal 2. Mike and Stu may not be the most interesting characters in Twisted Metal 2, but from what the TV show has shown us, these two are a perfect adaptation of their characters. They're silly, they're funny, they're stupid, and they get exactly what they wish for. Number 3 is going to be Grasshopper, driven by Krista Sparks. This was her first appearance, and the redesign of Pit Viper's vehicle immediately won me over. A flashy little car that could leap into the air and was driven by a heavily lore-based character. Makes up for the fact that when you use her special, you can potentially cause massive damage to yourself. I loved her connection with Calypso, and I also would have held her during her ending. At number 2 is another newcomer in Shadow, driven by Mortimer. This spooky hearse may not be the fastest car in the tournament, but it makes up for it with its decent handling and surprisingly beefy body, and a special that can wipe out anyone in front of it. Mortimer also has the distinction of being one of the only people to not be tricked by Calypso. Put all this together with his fun, spooky aesthetic, and you get one of the best characters in the game. And number 1 goes to Mr. Cover Art himself, Axel. You would think a vehicle that is just 2 big wheels with a man in the center would be super weak, but Axel's abs must be made of titanium steel. He can take a hit, flip around about 20 times, and keep fighting as if his gameplay wasn't fun enough. His story is the best in the entire game. It doesn't push the Twisted Metal lore deeper, but the image of Axel tearing himself out of his prison will forever be seared into my brain. Those are my top 3 characters in Twisted Metal 2. Let me know who your favorite character is. As good as Twisted Metal 2 is, not every character can be a winner. Some characters, either through gameplay or stories, are just better left behind in a pile of scrap metal. Here are my worst 3 characters in Twisted Metal 2. Number 3 is going to be Warthog. He honestly isn't that bad, just boring. When you compare his gameplay to someone like Twister, or his story to someone like Marcus Kane, aka Roadkill, he just doesn't stand up to them. The vehicle feels generic, the most bland car in the game, but to make you feel worse, they gave Warthog a worse version of Minion Special. At least his ending is a funny little joke that gets me to chuckle. Second worst goes to Mr. Slam. I actually really enjoy the construction vehicle. In fact, it is probably my favorite car in the game. Using the special to pick up and slam enemies down is some of the most fun you can have in this game. In order to balance out the fun of the special, you are left wide open while using it. So you need to make sure that no one else is around. So why is this the second worst character? 2 words: Simon Whittlebone. I don't want to put anyone's dream down, but wanting to build the tallest building is so stupid. Simon is such a loud, annoying, arrogant competitor that he deserves his final fate.
I am Simon Whittlebone! I am God!
I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but Sweet Tooth is my number 1 worst character in Twisted Metal 2. The most famous character in the series gets his famous flaming hair in this game, but that is basically the only good part of him. His ice cream truck handles like shit, making him almost impossible to use. His super can be hard to hit, and sometimes it will bounce right over smaller cars. Even if it does hit, it does basically no damage. They also hadn't figured out who his character was yet, so him wishing to become a bug makes no sense and is just plain dumb. Those are my worst 3 characters in Twisted Metal 2. Let me know which characters you hated. Twisted Metal 3 took the series down a new and divisive path. Many fans of the series didn't enjoy the more cartoony look and feel, but I think we can still find some good in this game. Here are my top 3 characters in Twisted Metal 3. A quick honorable mention to Flower Power. I can't stand her in the game, but her character is so good in the TV series that it makes me want to give her another shot. I've got Mr. Grimm as number 3 on my list for only one reason. His ending. Most of the endings in this game are just groan-worthy jokes, and I legit chuckled with Mr. Grimm's. It's just some silly wordplay, but Calypso abusing soul and soul being the same word was funny. His special was one of the more visually interesting in the game. A giant screaming skull truly is metal. You know, like Twisted Metal. Number 2 is going to be Club Kid. Most of the new characters in this game are terrible, and if this was just based on personality, Club Kid would be in the trash with all the others. However, Club Kid's vehicle is absolutely busted. It handles really well, and has a nice durable body. On top of that, the Vortex special is stupid strong. Sucking in cars and spitting them out while doing tons of damage isn't even fair! At number 1 is my favorite character in the entire series, Minion. Yes, this is an unlockable mini-boss, but he still counts since you can do a full playthrough with them. A demon straight from hell with a vehicle to match. Minion drives a big old tank and it's tanky. This tank can flatten the competition and has a special that just overwhelms and almost one-shots any car if you land every missile. Getting sent to Hell, Michigan is just a cherry on top for this character. Those are my top 3 characters in Twisted Metal 3. Let me know who your favorite character is. Twisted Metal 3 has some of the most haters in the series. From the characters, to the environments, to the graphics, everything felt like a step back. It was difficult to pick my worst 3, but I managed to do it anyway. So here we go. Number 3 is Thumper. Thumper is such a cool, fun car, but it feels so neutered in this game. Just a boring version with a dumb ending. They even took away his signature weapon. Instead of setting the world on fire, he just makes them jump a bit. This is probably the worst version of Thumper that they ever did. Have you ever wanted a Wish.com version of one of the worst characters from the last game? Well, let me introduce you to Augur. He is somehow a worse version of Mr. Slam, both in character and in vehicle. The Drill special is just a worse version of the Slam Super. The vehicle is a worse version of the Slam Mobile, and Buster Cobb is just a more boring version of Simon Whittlebone. Augur is just a terrible character, and one of the most failed designs from the 989 studio games.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
The number 1 worst character in Twisted Metal 3 has to be Firestarter. His vehicle is fast, but blows up if it gets hit by a strong wind. Its design is just, ooh, flames make my car go fast. My biggest issue with him is that he flat out stole the gimmicks of other characters. He stole Thumper's special and borrowed from Sweet Tooth's design. Nothing about his character feels unique or exciting. Firestarter only shows up in this game, and he deserves to be constantly roasted. Those are my worst 3 characters in Twisted Metal 3. Let me know who your least favorite character is. Twisted Metal 4 is viewed as one of the worst games in the series, but that doesn't mean that all of its characters were awful. In fact, it has some of the best entrants in all of the games. Here are my top 3 characters for Twisted Metal 4. Number 3 is going to go to General Warthog. We've seen Warthog in every game before this, but his vehicle in this one is by far the best designed. It's based off of a World War I tank, and it might just be the best looking car in the game. It's slow and has a solid body, just like a tank should be. The coolest thing about him, though, has to be his special. For the first time ever, a character has a trap special, and it's an orbital death laser.
You wouldn't dare.
Why a tank has a sci-fi laser, I'll never know. But I love it. General Warthog is just an okay character, nothing fancy, but his vehicle makes him overall a top 3 character. Number 2 is a special guest and the man whose music is synonymous with Twisted Metal itself, Mr. Zombie, aka Rob Zombie. It's insane that they brought a real-life person into this universe. In fact, every part of this character is crazy. From the Dragula car, to his special, to the handling of the vehicle, everything is powerful on him. And his ending, in which instead of having a fun little joke we just get a hyper-compressed music video for Super Beast. Mr. Zombie is a great character, and if they were to make every guest character this fun, I'd be down to have many more join the roster. Number 1 has to be the big man himself, Calypso. The best thing that Twisted Metal 4 did was give us a chance to play as the creator of the contest. On top of that, Calypso brings a fantastic vehicle that straight up means business. It's called the Nuke Mobile, and it is just an excuse to haul around a big old nuclear missile. He sacrifices everything else to ensure a big body and an even bigger weapon. I wanted to play Calypso since the first game, so even though I wish it was in a better game, I'm glad I finally got a chance to destroy stuff with the true king of Twisted Metal. Those were my top 3 characters in Twisted Metal 4. Tell me if any of these wacky characters make your list. Twisted Metal 4 has some of the worst characters in the entire series. Even returning characters feel like cheap knockoffs of the earlier versions. It was an almost impossible task, but here are my 3 worst characters in Twisted Metal 4. Number 3 goes to Trash Man. Trash Man is just garbage.
Garbage Day!
Trash is my kingdom!
Number 2 goes to the Joneses. It's fun that they reference National Lampoon, but what an awful portrayal. This family is a nightmare. Mom, dad, and the 2 kids are all insufferable. They are so bad that Sweet Tooth can't even stand them. Even worse than the family is the family vehicle. This car is just the pits. The family car doesn't do anything good, terrible across the board, and their special is just a worse version of Warthog's old special. This family vacation can't end soon enough. Number 1 has got to be the grossest character in the entire franchise, Goggle Eyes. Gross human being, gross vehicle, gross ending, Goggle Eyes has 0 redeeming qualities. The car, on top of being disgusting, is also terrible to use. Another car that has stolen Thumper's old special and uses it much worse. Just looking at him makes me queasy. Ugh. Goggle Eyes is the number 1 character I wish was exterminated in this game. Not Vermin, though. She would have made this character salvageable. Those were my worst 3 characters in Twisted Metal 4. Tell me if any of these terrible characters make your list. Twisted Metal Black is many people's favorite game in the series. Hell, it's my favorite game in the series. A big part of that is all the great characters. The designs are so good and they feel good to play. Here are my top 3 characters in Twisted Metal Black. Number 3 is the most glass cannon character I've ever seen, Mr. Grimm. This guy is all offense, no defense, super fast, super strong, super blow-upable. I don't know if any other character can match his ability to take out other competitors so fast. The fact that he dies just as fast is a risk I'm always willing to take. On top of that fun play style, this new, refreshing take on Mr. Grimm's story is awesome. A creepy story of having to do everything in your power to survive is just what this character needed. Number 2 is the best version of Sweet Tooth in all of the Twisted Metal games. Not just the best, but maybe the most iconic. This big tank of a man was used everywhere and looked incredible. His personality was the most psychotic it ever was, and his ending, taking out Calypso, was bad ass. He didn't just have an awesome character design. His vehicle was super cool. It was still the ice cream truck, but now it transforms into a giant robot of death. This Sweet Tooth set the standard moving forward for a truly iconic character. My number 1 character is absolutely Dollface. I always prefer having a big, durable body, and nothing is bigger and more durable than a giant semi-truck. Her vehicle is a blast to play. It does everything you want it to do, takes a beating, and rams straight through the competition. As good as her vehicle is, her character is even better. Dollface was introduced in Twisted Metal Black and instantly became a fan favorite. Her look is striking and her story is crushing, and you are really cheering for her to get revenge. Every aspect of this character makes her the best in all of Twisted Metal Black. Those were my top 3 characters in Twisted Metal Black. Tell me if any of these characters made your list. Picking the worst characters in Twisted Metal Black is like picking my least favorite non-existent child. Every character has something I enjoy about them, but a goblin's gotta do what a goblin's gotta do. Here are my 3 worst characters in Twisted Metal Black. Number 3 is going to the returning character, Yellow Jacket. It's been a long time since we've seen the taxi, and they return as an unlockable character here. Unfortunately, most unlockable characters feel like an afterthought in terms of their stories. It's kinda cool, but just doesn't feel as fleshed out as other characters. On top of the so-so story, Yellow Jacket's special just feels like a worse version of Axel's. I'd love to see Yellow Jacket return in future games, but Twisted Metal Black's appearance could have been better. Number 2 is going to be Bloody Mary. It's a shame because I like her design, she is driving Spectre, which is always a good car, and her story starts off so good. What really brings this character down is the ending. Most characters get their wish granted, even if it is twisted by Calypso. Bloody Mary wanted to end up with her true love, but just got a lobotomized love interest who still doesn't even love her. It's such a bummer ending for a character that deserves so much more. The worst character in Twisted Metal Black is No Face. Here's the thing, I actually really like his character. I truly do enjoy every character in this game. No Face's story is still really interesting and his design is appropriately spooky. The biggest knock on him is that his car is ass! Low armor, so he dies quickly, and his special hits like wet spaghetti against a solid wall. It's basically Outlaw's old special, but with less damage, less pull, and less range. This character isn't bad, but he also isn't hitting anyone with a one-hit KO. Those were my worst 3 characters in Twisted Metal Black. Tell me if any of these characters make your list. Twisted Metal Head-On takes everything that was good about Twisted Metal 2 and amps it up to 11. The maps, the lore, and especially the characters are some of my favorites in the series. Here are my top 3 characters in Twisted Metal Head-On. Number 3 goes to the Craven-esque badass Catfish, aka Hammerhead. This car is a hoot and a holler to play. The design is just a jacked up Ford truck, but it is so raised that you are actually driving a big old monster truck. This vehicle is thick with 3 C's and has a classic monster truck special to boot. Popping up and slamming down on your victims makes you feel like you are in a monster truck rally. Catfish himself is just as fun and unique a character too. A blend of Craven, Predator, and a hillbilly named Cletus makes this entire package one of the best in the game. If his vehicle handled a bit better, or if his character had more impact on the overall lore of the series, he could easily be number 1 on this list. Number 2 has to be Grasshopper, aka Krista Sparks. I loved Grasshopper in Twisted Metal 2, so it only makes sense that she would continue to be one of my favorites in Head-On. The way the car handles is silky smooth, by far the best in the game. My big complaint about her was that you could die using her special, but that is all fixed in this game. You can now enjoy this awesome character without fear. Her lore continues to be fantastic, and her ending provides hope that if the series continues, she could continue along with it. Number 1 is a 2-for-1. It's the Big Bad Darktooth, driven by both Marcus Kane and Sweet Tooth. This car mashes up the best of both their vehicles into the most dominant car the Twisted Metal tournament has ever seen. Have you ever wanted to destroy your competition with a truly OP car? Well, Darktooth is for you. In addition, the drivers have the best lore of any characters. I just can't put it into words how good this car is. Maybe the most impressive thing is that its super is a variation of Mr. Slam Super, which means that we never have to play him ever again. Thanks, Darktooth! Those were my top 3 characters in Twisted Metal Head-On. Tell me if any of these characters made your list. Twisted Metal Head-On is, as of today, the last of the original style of Twisted Metal games. It had some really good characters, but it also had some characters that left me scratching my head and asking, why? Here are my top 3 worst characters in Twisted Metal Head-On. At number 3, I'm putting the car that has appeared in almost every Twisted Metal game, Thumper. Thumper always feels like a bit of a disappointment in these games. Having a flamethrower is super cool, and the design is sick, but it never comes together fully. In Head-On, it is held back by the driver. Angel is the worst driver that Thumper has ever had. She's so annoying. The worst part of her is that she wants to upgrade Thumper into being a better car. If it's good enough to win Twisted Metal, you don't need to change it. 3 letters, 2 brain cells, 1 awful driver. ATV. Let's start off with the fact that this car is basically Timu Mr. Grimm. That would be bad enough by itself, but it's even worse since the game also includes Mr. Grimm. Why did we need both of these vehicles in the same game? ATV blows up if it gets hit by a strong wind. You think he would make up for it by packing an extra punch, but nope. His special is a little baby shotgun blast that hardly looks like it does anything. On top of this, Gene Ruddish, the driver, is a knockoff Boomhauer. Not even his final wish could make me fall in love with ATV. Cousin Eddie, how I hate you. Let me count the ways. 1. You took my man Minion's spot as the mid-boss in this game. Minion is iconic. Cousin Eddie is an abomination. He also just stole Darkseid's special, but made it look worse. In Twisted Metal Black, this ram looked and felt like it had an impact. In Head-On, this RV ramming into vehicles has almost no impact, and you can barely tell it's doing a special move. I do actually think it's sorta cool that Cousin Eddie just barges in and dominates the tournament, but his wish could have been so much better than just upgrading his RV. It just felt lazy and uninspired. Eddie wants his vehicle to be a better one. Well, I want this entire character to be a better one. Those were my worst 3 characters in Twisted Metal Head-On. Tell me if any of these characters make your list. When the Twisted Metal show was announced, I was as giddy as a goblin. One of my favorite video game series was receiving a live-action adaptation. The best part is that the show absolutely lived up to my hype. Here are my top 3 characters from the first 2 seasons of Twisted Metal. Starting off at number 3 is going to be the not actually Grim Reaper in the show, Mr. Grimm. The amount of love and detail for this character really shines through compared to most of the other characters. So many winks and nods to the different iterations of Mr. Grimm in the games, such as his dad being called Captain Grimm, which is a direct reference to Twisted Metal 4. Mr. Grimm was always one of the more unique competitors in Twisted Metal. The show makes him stand out even more with how flashy and badass he is. Who else could get shot with a missile and deflect it with a scythe while Dragula plays in the background? Add on to all this that he introduces magic into the universe of the show, and it should be pretty obvious why Mr. Grimm is such a fan favorite. Number 2 is going to be the most iconic character in the series, Sweet Tooth. They could have made this such a one-note boring character. Instead, they made him the most insane, high-energy, and funniest version of Sweet Tooth we've ever had. Having him played by 2 actors, Samoa Joe as the body and Will Arnett as the voice, was such a cool choice. Whether he is performing a Vegas lounge show, singing the thong song, or beating up a big baby, Sweet Tooth is always doing it with a smile and leaving me smiling. Number 1 is Stu. I'm as surprised as everyone else. The show brought to life so many iconic characters, and hands down the best character in the show is a part of a dumb duo in Twisted Metal 2. The arc that Stu goes throughout the show is awesome. Advancing from a lovable loser to a man who sees the joy in bloodshed is hilarious. I'd argue he is also the funniest character in the show. On top of all of that, at the end of season 2, we get a classic Twisted Metal twist that just makes me feel for him so much more. Those were my top 3 characters in Twisted Metal, the TV show. Let me know which characters you loved in the series. The Twisted Metal show brought back so many characters from the entire series that was inevitable that some of them wouldn't turn out so great. And some of them, yeah, they really didn't turn out so great. Here are my 3 worst characters in the first 2 seasons of Twisted Metal. At number 3 is John Doe. Fuck John Doe. I really enjoy Anthony Mackie, the actor, but I can't stand this character in the show. He makes dumb decision after dumb decision, makes his life and the lives of everyone around him so much worse. Instead of getting a special weapon that could have helped him win the tournament, dude chose to just get a booty call instead. In a show that contains truly outlandish characters, you need someone grounded to bring everything back to normal. But John Doe goes too far and makes everything a joke. I'm really hoping they can just turn this character around in season 3. Number 2, and I'm really sad about this one, is Dollface. I don't know why they keep messing up this character. She was so good and an absolute badass in Twisted Metal Black. The version in the show feels closer to how she is in Twisted Metal 2012. I'm all for this and having a badass gang of girls dominating the wasteland, but the dolls just seem so non-threatening. Instead of a bunch of them riding around, imagine if we just had one Dollface wrecking everybody with a giant semi-truck. I'm interested in the direction they took her character at the end of the season, but everything leading up to that just felt like a massive waste of time. Number 1 is hands down Agent Shepard. I'm not mad about the show changing up a character so drastically. I'm just disappointed with how it was done here. Agent Shepard in Twisted Metal Head On is one of the best characters. He drives Crimson Fury, which is an awesome car, and he actually arrests Calypso. Something no one else had been able to do. The show gets rid of his car and makes him into a low-life evil man. Shepard used to stand for justice and doing what is right. The only good thing about him is his taste in reading material. I think I would be more okay if this was original character, but to completely alter an existing character into someone as deplorable as this just feels wrong. Those were my worst 3 characters in the Twisted Metal show. Let me know which characters you disliked in the series. Come back soon to see my other takes on your favorite video games. Toodles!